What's going on, FPF world? We are back for another episode of Calling the Audible, the Division 3 edition. I'm your host, Justin Blanchard, and to my right is a banana, also known as Gem Collectors. Dude, it suits you really well, man.
Yellow is your color.
I think yellow is a good color for you. Yeah, man, what's up, man?
Hi, Justin. How are you?
I'm good. All right, so Jim's gonna take.
No, it stays on.
I kept my costume on the whole half hour. You are such a pussy. That is terrible.
I'll eat some of your feta too. It'll be fine.
Listen, this is my punishment for losing. I absolutely despise feta cheese.
Thank you, Ryan Aridi, for the banana soup, by the way. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm gonna eat 5-ish spoonfuls of this.
Should we get into the show first?
Probably. I'm just gonna take
so this is Calling the Audible Division 3. I'm your co-host, Jam Colethras.
Justin. And not enjoying himself right now is Justin Blanchard.
That's one. Jesus Christ. Okay, we're heading right into the recaps here. I'm sorry. The first game, Darksiders, beating Lightweight 45-38. Quick recap of the game, rather, is obviously, as you can tell from the stats, is Frank Raymond stepping in for Simon Dagen at quarterback.
Didn't we talk about this a couple of weeks ago?
You did?
That they'd be better off with
with Frank? Man, listen, you look at the stats. He did a great job, honestly. And I mean, it's not hard compared to Simon, right? Simon apparently nursing a shoulder injury, hand injury, ego injury. Who the hell knows what he was?
Simon separated his shoulder in the overnight tournament,
right? And then he played, and now all of a sudden he's not playing anymore.
Yeah. The point of my story was he was very kind. Is that he had borrowed one of my jerseys during the tournament, and the paramedics were going to cut it off to put his shoulder back in. Right. But he asked them to remove it from him, being in like that amount of pain. Yeah, that's my story.
All right, good for Simon.
Thank you, Simon.
Right. So essentially,
what a douche.
Essentially, here we have Matt Kerouac going crazy, taking the first hook of the game, little 12-yard hook, 40 yards downfield. From there, it was just back and forth the whole way.
After just having won the Division 1 Game of the Week D-Boys game as well.
Which was also a great game.
Matt Kerouac, all things to Division 1 end.
Yeah. So he took that, and then he also caught, apparently, according to Simon, a 40-yard Hail Mary over Frank and Corey, which is pretty impressive. And then that was pretty much it before one interception by Frank came up, pretty much did them in. They go down 2 scores. They get one in garbage time. And that's your final. So I guess the first question here is for Darksiders. Is it more surprising to you to see Matt Kerouac's stat line, or the fact that they allowed 38 points to Frank Raymond here at quarterback?
I think it's the more surprising of the two is definitely them allowing that many points on the defense. We just talked about Matt Kerouac winning in Division 1. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason. He improves not just at the rusher position, but playing receiver, playing defense as well. So that's far less of a surprise. I think this is a little bit more indicative of what Darksiders can do when they have a full roster, when they're not scrambling for guys at the last second and they go into a game with a game plan.
Right. So very quickly here, Kerouac's numbers here, 9 catches, 200 yards, and 4 TDs. Still a pretty insane stat line, regardless of who's doing it. But yeah, Matt's a pretty good baller. You know, he's known as a rusher, but the dude can play, right? And on the other side here, Lightweight, that's the most points that they've allowed all season in a single game. Do you think that says more about where Darksiders' offense is at, or where Lightweight's defense is at this point in the season?
I think it is just where Darksiders' offense is at. We've talked a lot about the Lightweight defense and how strong they are and how often they have to step up and do. So I don't think this is necessarily a knock on them, but just the caliber of offense that they faced this week.
Right. And then speaking of good caliber defenses here, Laval's finest, generally known as a good defense here, getting absolutely demolished 46-25 by FOE. Laval's finest here playing their first game without Jordan McLaren. Clearly, I guess it showed. Alex Hollowak kind of picking on Sam Mashtub here for most of the game.
Picking on Sam Mashtub?
Yeah, Sam Mashtub is playing DB in Division 3.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love the kid. He's a good player. I do think that's maybe a bit high to be playing DB, given his age and level. But listen, they tried it out. Listen, on that note, I guess
Alex is also that type of quarterback, though, who will see that matchup and sort of exploit you. He'll cut you up short, and then when you try to adjust, that's when he'll hit you deep.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, listen, I went back and I checked. They had 7 guys on the report, on the game reports. You know what? They had 7 players total. Why not at a certain point take Sam out of defense and put someone in? Does it not mean
depending on who it is? Depending on who it is, maybe not even just.
I don't know.
I think that Sam is still a viable option at DB. It's just it's hard when you're being targeted as the weak link in a
Yeah.
Division 3 game.
Yeah. So, and
I know people do it often.
on the flip side here, right? That's true. We actually just did that in D5.
Yep.
What's up? On the other side here, FOE. So they have offense-wise here in terms of points scored, 2 games in the 40s range, 2 games in the 20s range, 1 game in the 30s range, and 1 game in the 10s range. Who is the real FOE offense? Like, what is what? Which we expect
part of
from
that
them
is
here.
also a defensive score. You're counting that into this game
Definitely,
here as well.
definitely.
So you see that it's kind of they tend to motivate each other on defense and on offense. So one player makes a big play on defense, it brings everyone up, and suddenly you see production offensively. Whereas when you're down on yourselves, it gets kind of a little bit more infectious, and FOE tend to implode in those certain situations. So I think that's
Right.
really the disparity between the two, is that when it rains, it pours.
Right, yeah. Shout out to James Nowakowski at that late pick 6 to really, kind of put the game out of reach for good here. And then lastly, we have Wolfpack versus BearSkins. Wolfpack beating BearSkins 1913. GM, please tell us what your
I was
thoughts
very
here.
happy to see that I predicted this correctly.
I'm gonna
It
take
was
quick.
it was an underdog pick, and I thought that Wolfpack really were the better matchup here, having played both these teams as well. I think that also helped.
That was a big mouthful.
Oh, I've not done that. Oh my god.
Justin doesn't
Sorry.
like feta cheese, and that's his punishment. I was wearing the banana suit, but it got really, really, really hot.
All right, little bitch is what you are. Okay, all right. Man,
So tell us more about this game, Jim.
GM, hold on, I'm gonna move on to a question here. For Wolfpack now, Pascal Murray is at 12 INTs on the season. Is that, only David Chantoma has more with 14. Do you think his style is really viable in Division 3? Like, can they expect to win games? Can they expect to make noise in the playoffs with the way that he kind of plays the game here? Because he's very Brett Favre-like, right? He loves to chuck it deep, which has its positives and
I
negatives.
think that
right?
what's happened in the past is that having played in Division 2 with Division 2 caliber players, there's always that matchup, and every athlete is always that good that he can just chuck it up and they'll get there.
Right.
Whereas with this team, not necessarily knock on them, but they're in Division 3 rather than Division 2 because the talent pool has diminished a little bit, and D3's talent pool has gotten larger. So those throws that he's used to making, A, he doesn't have the same caliber receivers all the time to make them, and B, the DBs in Division 3 are now getting better and better, and they're able to cover deep like that. So I think
Right.
it's just the nature of the game.
Okay, no, that's a fair point. But on the flip side here, for BearSkins, granted you got the pick correctly, did you actually expect them to be held to only 13 points? After, remember, last week I told you they hadn't been held under 30 points all season long. That's 5 games in a row. They scored at least 30 points. To go from 30 to 13, that's still a big jump here. Is this a
I think
one
it's
game
also
thing? Or?
it may also be indicative of the depth of the teams that they faced and how well that they've done against them. I know, having played and having lost to them, it all just comes down to the week-to-week schedule, and sometimes some teams are better built. Like in this case, Wolfpack were built to beat BearSkins.
Right. So then, do you still have, I guess, decent hopes here for BearSkins going forward, or is this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
This was a trap matchup, but they'll bounce back without a doubt.
Yeah. Moving right along then to the main event here, GM's chance to get his revenge after losing whatever it was 2 weeks ago, and in Division 5, as our supply and command team beat his LOB team 25-19. We're also playing each other this week in Division 3, so we'll probably find some other punishment related to something like that.
Let's not make it costumes, because that doesn't seem to work for someone here.
Well, yeah, clearly. Listen, I'm taking 5
Hey,
spoonfuls.
whoa.
Hold up.
I wore that Falcons polo all podcast.
Right,
week one.
as you
That was
should. As you
terrible.
spoke. I think it was great, man. Listen, red, yellow, fantastic colors on you. I'm
all about the primaries.
I'm eating 5 spoonfuls of feta cheese because of Jim's 2 catches and 3 tackles in our Division 5 game, which makes 5.
I also had a PD that no one cares about. But
I'm not going to bring in any... No, that's not... Nope. 5 is good. 5 is a good number. All right, so then listen, Eagle, here is the question this week. So for our viewers tuning in for the first time, A, why are you tuning in so late? B, essentially, GM and I are going to bet on what Eagle thinks is the answer to a question. It doesn't matter what the actual answer is, only what Eagle thinks on the matter. So Eagle, here's the question. How many total undefeated and winless teams do you think there are in Division 3 at this point in the season?
So combined, basically.
Right, yeah,
So the number of
exactly.
undefeated plus the number of winless.
Exactly.
Of
Together.
26.
Yeah.
Okay.
So take a second there to think about that. I'm going to take my third Man, I don't know how you do this, man.
All right, I got my number.
You got your number?
You can put a little bit of olive oil, maybe
Stop.
some oregano.
Stop talking. Just stop.
Little cucumber slices,
All
maybe
right.
some cherry tomatoes.
GM,
Yeah, sounds good, eh?
I'm going to start it off at 2.
Give me 3.
I'm going up to 4.
I will go up to 7.
I will leave you on that. So that's it. So if Eagle's answer is 7 or above, GM wins. If it's lower than 7, I get the win. Eagle, what do you got?
I got a 4.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait till you hear the answer.
That is the answer. It's legit 7.
I would have never thought that.
I know you never would've
Celebrate
thought that.
being wrong,
That's-
Alex.
No, I'm celebrating you being wrong. Thank you.
Yeah.
Eagle. So I'm going to try to ball extra hard out this weekend to see if I can get you to do some stats related crap
Oh, okay.
for losing. So 7 here.
I'll be in Brossard. So
Oh, you will?
yeah.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. All right. So we'll figure that out over the course of the week. There's 7 teams. So we have Brotherhood, 6-0. Coyotes, well, actually, I mean, what's the name? 2.5 dance played, right? So everyone's at 6 games.
Yep.
Brotherhood undefeated, Coyotes undefeated, Dad Bod Squad undefeated, 2.5 Dan's undefeated, and the winless teams are Heisman's, Les Messieurs Chat, and Les Barres. So I thought, listen, it'd be kind of interesting to kind of look at which teams we think can either, for the undefeated teams, carry on all the way through, and vice versa, and same for the winless teams, right? So we'll also add in, to kind of make it a full balanced kind of 8-team thing, all subdivisions will be covered. Who's the last year? Who's in last place? It was, right, Golshev Bonzi at 1-5 in their subdivision. So, first up here, GM. Which undefeated team is your lock to remain undefeated throughout the season?
The Brotherhood.
Shocker.
The Brotherhood
Please tell
are
us why.
stupid good. I watched their game this week, and it's just on another level. We keep talking about the fact that Theo Jaya is not a natural quarterback at the position, but no one seems to have told him. He'll air it out like it's nothing. He's finding the open guy, or he'll just wait in the backfield for the rusher to break down on him, and then he'll dance around, show the rusher that he's better than him, and then throw it for a TD or run it in. So the game is on slow motion for the Brotherhood right now.
It's all about that foot drag.
Yeah, no, I mean, there honestly, there really is no argument against that. I mean, the Brotherhood really, they really easily could compete in Division 2 right now. There's no doubt about that. It's an unorthodox style, but listen, it works for them. There's no question about that. Theo, in your typical 3-step drop back, he will wait around and then he'll just chuck it up to whoever can jump freaking 40 inches up in the air, which is just about everyone on their roster. So, I mean, yeah, definitely.
Also, I didn't realize how tall Kevin Kaya was.
Oh, man, dude's tall, man. He's a tool, dude. You had his vert to that. Dude's a freak.
Yep.
He's up in the sky, man.
How are they so cap friendly?
Probably the Majid brothers. Shout out Saad and Ahmed Majid. No, honestly, I mean, listen, they must be up there by 0.2 points, man. I'm telling you, because that is a solid squad.
More than anything, it's got to be Theo's quarterback rating that
Maybe.
compensates.
Listen,
but
either way,
even then,
they're in here, they fit, they're making plays. In terms of their schedule, I think really the only team that could even kind of compete with them at this point, possibly if Jordan McLaren shows up, is Laval's finest, and I still think that's a game that Brotherhood take pretty handedly. So to kind of mix things up here, my team is Dad Bod Squad, which is perhaps an interesting choice, I think. The remaining games
Justin's
are
already doubting his choice.
Yeah, a little
He's
bit.
made it, and you're
But
already.
I'm still going to find a good case for them. You'll see. Remaining games are FOE, Buddies, OTF, and Mongoose. Here's the case for them. It's twofold. It's very boring, but this is what it is. 1, they do not turn the ball over. So far at this point, Sean Everman has only 3 INTs on the season. That's behind only Theo and Christian Charantola. Theo has 1, I think Christian must have 2. And they also have the 3rd best defense in terms of points against, behind only the Dans and the Brotherhood. Listen, they're built it's very NFL-wise. You know, I mean, they have, if you can look at Ryan Aridi as that D-line, you have that kind of pressure, man. It just makes things so much simpler for a defense, and that's to begin with. So when you add who they have on defense, guys like Rich Humes, guys like Vinny Guilano, Jason Prince, these aren't just these aren't nobodies. You know what I mean? These are proven veteran, FPF veterans. You have that kind of defense. You have an offense that scores just enough. Listen, to start the season, I kind of doubted them a little bit in terms of the fact that they aren't scoring that many points compared to with Vinny at the hump.
It's a different style, and it's all it
works.
takes.
It works,
Absolutely.
man. They're winning the close games, winning the big games. I really think that the only team that could potentially kind of give them a good fight here is FOE this week.
And it depends, like you said, on which
Exactly,
FOE team shows
which
up.
FOE team shows up. So between them, I think perhaps OTF may sneak one, but I still think that Dadbot Squad takes that. I think that they are a good, I guess, plan B, if you will, for another undefeated team for the season. Moving on then to our winless team, most at risk to remain as such in Week 10. Jim, who you got?
I have the Heismans.
Another obvious choice.
Please. I'm digging deep for these ones.
Yeah.
I think that the Heismans right now, they're just not at the Division 3 caliber. Quarterback change possibly, adding depth. Something's got to be done. So either reaching up and finding someone from Division 1 or Division 2 who can fit on the team, finding a new quarterback, just getting in rhythm.
Yeah.
Really
there's really no kind of argument against it. I mean, it struggles all around for them. Starting from the quarterback, he's not getting help either from his receivers, though. Nick Arna isn't. I mean, and the defense just isn't doing that good of a job in it. Consistently week in and week out. I don't think that they'll be winning a game this season, if I'm being quite honest. On the flip side here, I'm going to give myself a little challenge here and say Les Monsieur Champs as my lock, if you will, to finish 0-10. Their remaining games are Brotherhood, Darksiders, Lightweight, and BD Bandits. Who knows, that Lightweight game, depending on how Simon feels, I see. Well, might be a W. But otherwise, listen, there is just, having just played them, this is a good squad, but I'm sorry, David Chantomo is just not getting it done at quarterback, and it's the little things, basic accuracy problems, a lot of passes thrown in the dirt, in the red zone, just struggling to just hit open receivers. Like he had his receivers are open. These aren't, anybody going out here playing receiver. These are some good kids, and he's just not hitting them, and it's just not working out for him. I don't really see it getting any better to finish out the season. I don't know what you think about him at this point.
I think that's pretty accurate. They definitely have a lot of depth there. There's also something that tickles me about you calling Les Monsieur Chat, who are, I guess the bulk of them are older than you kids. It tickles me the right way.
I get that from Smo, calls everybody kids. Thanks, Smo.
Yeah. But
yeah,
it's an accurate assessment because there's such a tight window in Division 3 where you need to make these plays when they come up because they're not going to happen again. And even if you're at 50% of completing these essential plays, you're not going to come out with a win.
And on the flip side, he's also not getting much help from his defense. Listen, I went and checked. They have 1 INT and 0 sacks so far on defense. That's just not... You need to have some you need to have some plays made, period, on defense if you want to get, some W's in Division 3. It's not happening, and I just don't think that it will happen between here and the end of the season. On the flip side here, your undefeated team, who I guess you could say is most at risk, if you will, of not finishing undefeated. What do you have?
I have 2.5 Dans. I think it's basically just the schedules compared to the other 3 undefeated teams at this point.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Listen, the Dans are a great team. They do have Wolfpack, Uzis, Mongoose, and OTF left. I don't think that those will be gimmies for sure, especially with the way that Wolfpack just played come back this season. Very good showing for them. The team that I picked, here we go. It's going to be, might get some haters here, Coyotes. Listen, to be honest, I picked last undefeated team remaining. I didn't want to pick another team that we already talked about. The remaining games are Jonesers, Lightweight, Show Me Your TDs, and 8 Boys 1 Cup. Here's the potential you can make against them. First off is their defense, been showing some cracks in the past few weeks, having given up 35 points to FOE before giving up 39 points just recently to Les Barres. That's the most that they've scored all season. That is still pretty surprising, 39 points from Barres. I think that, I guess you can make a case for a team like maybe Wolfpack, Mongoose too. I think the key to stopping a team like Coyotes is to play them man all game long, to put the fastest kid that you can on Josh Feeder, put the most physical guy you can on Kevin Spoon, and just kind of hope for the best, I guess, and just kind of wait for one of Semi Feeder's.
But their build, that's their appeal, is that, yes, that is the way you need to beat them.
And same with, for example, Show Me Your TDs. Maybe that's an outside pick, but, you have a guy like Julien Bellavance. That's a quick, physical dude. Like, that's a matchup I like to see on Kevin Smuda, and they have speed, like Anthony Adana. That's a quick kid, Listen, I don't know between here and then what exactly is going to happen, but I do think that there's the slightest potential, if you will, for one of those teams
for an upset.
to kind of give them a run for their money, if you will, especially with how poorly their defense have been playing in recent weeks. Do I actually think it'll happen?
Maybe not so much.
I'm not sure.
I know you don't think it's going to happen because a couple weeks ago, after the game of the week where they played FOE, you said that was probably the most likely game that they would lose.
If I'm being honest, this is more, listen, there are a lot of teams here to get through, and we can just kind of talk about where some potential weaknesses are, or strengths, depending on who we're talking about. So moving on, then, the last one here, the winless team, which you think is a lock to finish outside of the bottom spot, or to win a game essentially,
or another one in my case.
Yeah, right.
It's Groshev Banzi. I just played them this week, and their skill is not indicative of their wins and losses right now.
Okay, so then do you have what game do you think they win? Do you have the schedule?
You're the one with the laptop in front of you as we bring it up right now.
I'm getting there. Listen, here's what they have left.
Doesn't wear his costume, doesn't come prepped.
Listen, they have Red Raiders, OTF, Liberés, and BearSkins. I'm just saying, those are still some tough games, to be honest with you.
They face one of the other winless teams, number one.
But
they match up really well against the OTF game.
Hold on. Now, Liberés here. Liberés, is that who I picked?
The short one, too. No,
yes, that's my listen. We'll get to in a second. Okay, carry on. No, make your case, and then I'll argue against it. Go ahead.
I think that there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of football knowledge here, and I know it's been a rough transition from tackle, but they're going to be bound to get it right. It's coming faster and faster. It was a one touchdown game against Top Sauce this week.
Okay, that's a good point. Now, here's the flip side of that. Number one, they just don't seem to have a dependable quarterback, or just a quarterback period. It seems like, I think they've tried at least maybe 4 at this point?
Yeah.
And it's just not, none of these really inspire confidence. I mean, granted, none of these guys have really played more than 1 or 2 games, so we haven't really seen that much from them. But I mean, at this point in the season, it doesn't seem like the quarterback play is really up to par. And on the flip side, why I think that Budés game might be a loss is I don't think that Budés record are really indicative of who they are at this point in the season. I went back and checked. Listen, if it's not obvious, Budés are my pick to finish not winless, if you will, at this point in the season. The remaining games are Mongoose, Dad Bod Squad, Groshev Banzi, and Red Raiders. They went back to Leon this week for the first time since week 3. We talked about it 2 seconds ago. Put up 39 points, which is still pretty impressive. And they brought in some reinforcements for that game. Now the thing is, if those reinforcements stay throughout the rest of the season, I think this is a potential for an upset team.
That's a fair counterpoint.
Here's what they have: Doug McKernan, who showed up. Sean Kennedy, who they brought in a few weeks ago to play quarterback, is now moved to receiver. His obviously much more natural
snapper,
position.
Possibly.
Snapper, either one, as in now he's catching passes as opposed to throwing them. So you get to add that. You get that Doug McKernan. These are 2 guys that Leon is very familiar with.
Those 2 were also on Leon's Division 3 championship team in 2011, Dark Horses.
So there you go. Like, these are...
Shout out Dark Horses.
These, this isn't just good players, right? Because Doug and Sean are excellent players. These are good players that Leon knows. Right, so there's no issues in terms of him not knowing his players or him not knowing he's comfortable with these guys.
So it's much easier to have him find. We were talking about that rhythm that when Leon falls out of it, he does really poorly.
I mean,
he has that support system around him that also know how to keep him in check and prevent him from going off the rails.
Definitely. So listen, if granted it's just 1 game, Coyotes defense isn't exactly known for being the best defense in the world, but this is still it's an impressive first game. If they can continue, if Doug and Sean keep showing up, if they keep Leon at quarterback, then I'll go with JC or Sean at quarterback. I think that they can upset more than a few of these teams, if I'm being quite honest.
Absolutely.
I think honestly, they might give Mongoose and Red Raiders, along with Groshev Banzi, a real good run for their money. I just do not see this team, who they are today, going 0-10. That to me is just not. It's just not happening. So come on, Leon, prove me wrong, buddy. Right. Rather.
Just want to point out you've been wearing that hat for longer than GM had his banana costume.
Yeah, because you know what? Listen, all right, I follow through with my challenges.
If you'd like, I can wear that next show and you can do the banana suit the whole show.
It's too late, GM.
I bet
it's too late. We all know we thought you were. All right, we let you off the hook. That's okay though. Moving right along to our picks of the week. The first one here, I thought it'd be interesting. Top Sauce versus 6+R. Eagle, who do you have and why?
Top Sauce versus 6+R?
Yeah.
I gotta go with Top Sauce. I really do.
Okay.
I feel that Vince has gotten to a point now where It's not about. Actually, no. Justin's probably going to be the one asking for the ball the entire game, anyways. So
Totally.
it sounds exactly like his
from
character.
Start to finish.
Double team him, and he's still going to ask for it.
Absolutely. The non-stop complaining every play. Keep going.
But I feel that Vince has kind of evolved as a quarterback. He's gotten to a point where he's comfortable with his receivers. He has great depth on that team. He doesn't have to look at check down to one guy all the time. And I think that basically man for man, I think 6+R is a little bit outmatched. I think the skill level in 6+R is kind of, I guess, compartmentalized into 2-3 names, and then across the board it's a little bit of filler, at least the way I look at the roster.
Okay, Terry, I saw you nodding your head here. Terry Tam, you're back from nice little vacation. Terry, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? I'm going to say top sauce to this one. No offense to you, Justin, but I think that you are the thing about top sauce is that
why am I the one that's the least confident about this game of everyone here?
It's not that easy. It's not going to be a blowout. You know what I mean? Unless Justin pulls a Justin and becomes a Finals MVP and breaks everybody apart. No, but realistically, I think that top sauce overall they're more skilled. The only thing that can break is that Vince likes to chuck it. He's a Chucker McGee. He's the Eli Manning of FPF. He closes his eyes and throws it to JD. We saw it last week. Yeah, and so that's the only thing. I think if Vince is behind, if 6+R is able to score early and get up at least by 12, then that's the end of the game right there.
Okay,
top sauce doesn't have it.
Not for me. Those are fair points. I think that's just I mean, I think it's gonna be a good game. I hope it's gonna be a good game. I mean, listen, if Vince plays the way that he can play, I think it'll be pretty big one of these 35-38 type of deals. So
over under, how many yards are you gonna get?
All right, so the next game here, we have Show Me Your TDs at 3-3 taking on BD Bandits at 2-4. Notes for this game: Show Me Your TDs have scored 2 touchdowns and 1 touchdown in their last 2 weeks of play after putting up 46 versus Prestige Worldwide. And on the flip side here, we have BD Bandits, whose 2 wins have come in the last 2 weeks. So do you think that the streak stays alive for BD Bandits, or do Show Me Your TDs right the ship?
I think that Show Me Your TDs are going to right the ship. One of those games comes at the efforts of the Brotherhood.
That's very true.
Right there where you're facing that defense, you're not going to put up a lot of points to begin with. I liked what I saw in that game, despite the disparity between the Brotherhood and Show Me Your TDs. Show Me Your TDs rallied, they battled, they kept it they tried to keep it a close game. So I think that they match up much better against BD Bandits.
Okay, that's a good point. I'm gonna pick BD Bandits just because I like the way that they've been playing the past few weeks.
He likes the back door.
I'm gonna take a quick. Listen, no, I mean, granted, it was against Brotherhood, but I would have liked to see, I guess, a bit more from Mike Adana at quarterback. 6 points. It's not really a confidence booster, and I feel like BD Bandits have kind of found their rhythm here. They're doing good, and I think they keep it going. The last game is Darksiders versus 8 Boys 1 Cup. Darksiders at 4-2 versus 8 Boys 1 Cup, 2-4. Here are some interesting notes here. Darksiders, Fred Morris set 20 touchdowns, 0 INTs since going for a 2-3 ratio back in week 1. He's helped Darksiders to a 3-game winning streak. And on the flip side here, 8 Boys 1 Cup, this is interesting to me, still unsure who to go with quarterback. It seems like they started with Jesse Dupuis before switching for Jean Lucien at some point, I guess, midway through the game. Do you think the Darksiders keep the streak alive here versus 8 Boys 1 Cup?
I do. I really do. I think the Darksiders are the heavy favorite for this one. They match up very well against the 8 Boys 1 Cup. And provided that everyone who's been on this roster and who is cap friendly will be there in that game, it should be Darksiders.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me, it's weird at this point that they keep starting Jesse Dupuis. Not that he's a bad quarterback, in my opinion, just that it seems like Jean Lucien is better. In what they've done so far, Lucien 5 TDs, 1 INT, 107.2 rating, and Dupuis 16 TDs, 11 INTs, 71.9 rating. And both times that Lucien has stepped in the second half, he scored more points than Dupuis did when he was starting. Mm-hmm. It feels like they should just start Lucien at quarterback to begin with
and work from there
and just see what he can do. See what he can do for a whole game. So unless they do that, I really have to go Darksiders all the way here. As much as it pains me to say, I think that Pease here is gonna. I think he's gonna score a touchdown. Touchdown from Pease coming in this game, and that's the way the cookie crumbles really here, unfortunately. Yes, I got you. Thank you. So that'll pretty much do it for us here. GM, your quick thoughts
Yeah, you
here.
ran out of call
I did. I ran out of call-outs and shout-outs this week, so I figured, listen,
So, yeah.
I'm gonna give you the floor here, GM. What do you have to say?
So my call out is to Gros Chef Bonzi. If you're gonna kick a team off the side that they got there first, make sure you win the coin toss.
Listen, Gros Chef Badi, you don't get to pick the side that you're on. Just, I mean, it's not like we're the home team. We pick this. That's not how it works. You show up, the side that's there. That's what you take.
And not only that, we have rules so you can pick a side if this were to actually happen in real life.
Indeed. So, listen, good team. That was a weird kind of show of events. I hate feta cheese. GM, thank you for being my co-host.
Thank you.
Nico,
And
you as
part-time
always.
banana.
Part-time banana. 1 second banana. That'll do it for us here this week. Catch you guys next week.
We'll be right back.